Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm gonna wait for a while for some people to get in here. I probably should have moved this one to 8:15. Maybe I should just set them all to 8:15 from now on because we do have sometimes these economic reports that come out at 8:30, and they're going to completely change the pre-market profile. So probably won't dig in a lot to like the 15-minute charts today like we usually do. But what we will do is we'll take a bigger look at things, and then at 8:30 we'll assess what's going on with SPY. Remember the 2-minute rule on the SPY about marking the high and marking the low. Uh, so I'm showing you right now JP Morgan here. Yeah, I'm showing you right now JP Morgan chart, and it's on the 15-minute time frame showing the pre-market. So JP Morgan, it had an initial spike up, the initial spike up here, and then it gave all that back, and now it's been slowly, just walking up, from that, basically from the snapback low. Of course, you're going to hit a snapback when you're doing earnings. Like it's almost like you don't even need the indicator for the earnings, right? Because that's the case. But now you're looking at this trend right here that's happening, and I've talked to you guys about that kind of trend before. What you're looking at here is like there's your bull flag right here, right? So, and I know you guys are just now joining, and I'm doing is I'm just kind of just starting off a little bit on the JP Morgan earnings, and I'm not talking about it from the fundamentals. I'm only talking about it from the technicals. We had, obviously we had an initial surge right here, and then it came down from there, right? So we put in the top, put in our pre-market high here, high opening, lower upper wick there, and then we caught the bottom here at basically about 302. Okay, it was your pre-market low, and from there, the next 15-minute candle put in a nice impulse candle, and now we're ranging upwards like this. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. All I'm doing is I'm just kind of setting up the agenda today. Banks are starting off the earnings process right now, and with JP Morgan has just reported, and I put up a pattern here. It's a bull flag, but it's something that I have specifically called a inverse bull flag. And what an inverse bull flag is something that's usually indicating it's going to pull back. Because what ended up happening is you have your higher momentum is happening in this candle right here. And then if you look at your RSI, and I don't have RSI up here, so I can just tell you though, from my experience, RSI is declining while the price is going up. This is called a divergence. And usually what will end up pulling back, don't feel like you missed this move, what will end up happening is that this will actually pull back. It'll pull back either probably to right here, this prior pivot area, or this prior day low right here. You see, I have these session anchors actually marked out for you. PMH is prior pre-market high, pre-market low, prior day close, and then your prior day, your prior day close is actually right there. Or no, your prior day high is right there. So, all right. So anyhow, so that's the technicals on J.P. Morgan. I don't know exactly what the word is on their report. It would be interesting to look at the fundamentals on this just to kind of see what's going on in regards to possible other earnings reports. Here is the earnings for this week, and yeah, it looks like BlackRock and Citi are all reporting this morning. So the banks are really going to give us some information. It's going to be also interesting to see what's going on with Johnson and Johnson here, because yeah, okay. Oops. All right. Anyhow, so Johnson and Johnson right here. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on with them. And then also CarMax, actually. So this is going to be an indicator about what's going on with the economy right here. I think the banks are going to kind of help out a little bit with the economy. And then Johnson and Johnson should give us some information about what's going on with the defensive. So very interesting. ASML tomorrow is going to give us more information about, what's going on with the with the AI stocks, the chips, and I think we're all kind of interested to see what's going on with Netflix. So there's what's going on for today in regards to earnings. Let's go ahead and take this off screen, and then the other thing I wanted to take a look at is I wanted to look at this right here. We have PPI coming out. PPI is coming out here. Oh, here, let me get rid of all that. So PPI is coming out right there at 8:30. And I tell you what, I'm going to actually move these broadcasts to 8:15 from now on. So it'll be a set time at 8:15 because there's just too many times these important numbers are coming out at 8:30, and it's going to completely change what the profile is in regards to the pre-market profile. So we're going to look at the pre-market profile because it does have a interesting setup. But there is a possibility that PPI could change it, especially if it's like way out of line. If it's somewhat in line, I wouldn't expect that it's going to change it too much. I think crude oil actually is also something that we do want to pay attention to later on today because it's been a driver basically of the interest rates. The whole reason why PPI is such an important number, it's the interest rates. It's what is the Fed going to do with the interest rates? And right now that's a little bit up in the air. So PPI at 8:30. Guys, keep a watch on the clock there for me so that I'm making sure that I'm actually doing that. We're going to mark the 2-minute high and the 2-minute low of the SPY on the PPI. All right. I don't know why these bank stocks, this stock and Bank of America, put in these crazy candles. These are false candles. So that's why I just started with the 15-minute because it's a ridiculous looking chart right now. And it's been doing that for a while. I wanted to show you this on the SPY. Let's take a look at the SPY. This is really interesting because when you zoom out of the SPY. Let's see here. I do have it on the SPY, right? Yeah. Okay. So hold on a second. I'm going to go back to my options trader view. So yeah. Oh, okay. So I put it in the clean view. Got it. Okay. All right. So this is what I want to show you. All right. So here you go. This is looking at the chart of the SPY basically over the last 4 years and the channel that we're in. If you look here, actually, I'm going all the way back basically to 2018, and I drew a regression channel through this, right? So when you draw that regression channel, you can see that we picked up, I mean, on a dime, we picked up support right off the middle of that zone. And so we are now, this is the weekly chart that we're looking at. And we're now moving up towards the top. And I would suspect now that we've captured the 20-period moving average, I'm not saying that we're going to actually just jump right over top of this without a little tiny pullback. Maybe we pull back a few dollars or something like that, like we did right here, and then rip back up. But we are over the 78.2. We do look like we want to at least test the top of the high, and I wouldn't be surprised if we ultimately tested the top of this range up here, which would put you into somewhere around like 715, 710, 715 area. You get up into that area, and we just don't have a lot. We're going to inch along. So you could inch along. When you get into that top range, you could inch along like you're doing right here, right? Just to show you. It doesn't mean that you're pulling back automatically. As I've told Alvaro, and he's mentioned it back to me a couple of times, it's hard to kill a bull. And the bulls are emboldened. They're very strong right now. But I don't think that what we saw yesterday, this is the secret chart, guys, right here that I'm getting ready to show you right now. This is the secret chart that nobody's showing you on the internet. And they used to show it to you all the time. But now, for some reason, it doesn't seem like people are actually showing it. But this is the one that I actually had in the background on my thumbnail. And this is what I wanted to show you. It's the max pain chart. And when you look at this max pain chart, and it's probably, maybe it's updated since I've actually looked at it, but look at these puts. Look at these puts up at around 45,000, 40,000. You got your put wall set up at 640. And then even if I zoom it out some more and we get up into here, you got a put wall at 670, 665, and that's for today. Actually, 614, yeah. But if I take this out now, let's see what's the end of the week. The end of the week, 617. Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. So look at this, guys. Look at this. Look at this. It's crazy. It's it's absolutely crazy. All of these puts right here, and the market yesterday started driving higher. Why do you think that we saw that rip? Because there was too many puts in the system, right? And so what we ended up seeing yesterday was a huge actual squeeze. That's exactly what was going on yesterday. And so, and a lot of those puts are probably still in the system. And if we look right here, let's just see what the put wall is. It's 665. When we go back to our chart, let's go ahead and go into like the 24-hour down here so we can see what's happening, and we'll maximize it. All right, we maximize this out. We're at 686 right now. So price is trading at, just to be sure, yeah, 686.10 is what price is trading at. And this put is 665, 670, 675. 700 is your call wall. 680 is your call wall. Max pain is 670. So, you know, it behooves the market makers maybe to bring this back in a little bit, but it definitely behooves the market makers to keep it above these numbers right here. So the idea that maybe we're going to rip down anytime soon, unless there's some kind of major news catalyst, I wouldn't put a lot of emphasis into the idea that that's probably going to happen. Let's take a look at the 4-hour chart. Guys, good morning to everybody. Good morning to you. We are waiting for that PPI number to come out. In the meantime, if you want to go ahead and throw in a couple stock tickers, I'll see if I can I can do anywhere from 2 to 5 stock tickers. Okay. On the 4-hour chart, this is what I wanted to show you. I had drawn in, originally I had a regression channel or a downward channel drawn in here. I took the bottom part of the channel off because it wasn't providing any more information. So this is what I do to eventually clean up my charts as I'm going. Let's take these studies off for right now. Let's take a pure look at price action, okay? We had a major trend line right here. Here, let me do this. Let's draw it in so that we're showing it on the... We had a major trend line right here, okay? The stock price broke above. It kind of ran into that resistance, came back, spiked under, and then ripped over and went right straight up. I mean, it did not stop until it got to the next resistance. If you were not in the pre-market on that move, you missed the move. And that's exactly how a lot of times it's been going. A lot of these moves have been happening in the pre-market. But then look here. I also drew in a secondary trend line right here. And that's what happened yesterday is we ended up moving up towards that trend line. And you might be able to actually draw it in. I don't know. Trend lines are, it's somewhat subjective, right? So anyhow, there's your trend line that I drew in. We broke over it. We then consolidated right here, consolidated a little bit above it, and now we're breaking up above. and we're continuing to go forward. This line right here is your back test. It's the back test of the breakdown. If we look and we zoom this thing back out now, you had a trend line. Go to a 24-hour so we can get all of the information in. See here, you had this range right here that we were in right here. We're in this range right here. Then you had a breakout, and then it ended up moving into this trend line right here. And we stayed in that trend line basically from July until basically March, right? And finally broke down out of that trend line. And now what we're doing is we're back testing the bottom side of that trend line. And the bottom side of that trend line, if you're looking at this also, it's also the top of this trading range. So a lot of things are actually running together in a confluence. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that we couldn't go higher, but I am saying that if we're going to go higher, I'm really kind of seeing it as a situation that we're going to kind of we're going to inch up, going higher if we go higher. If we're doing a pullback, I can see a pullback happening much more rapidly on some bad news, you know. So we'll go back over here to a 24-hour chart. No, a 4-hour chart, I mean. All right, and let's see here what we're looking at on the candles. So the candles right now, we're in kind of a semi-consolidation range right here. And honestly, in 13 minutes, PPI is coming out. There's no reason to go into this and get you out some pivot numbers from that. We can look at the pivot numbers on the 4-hour, but I'm saying there's no reason to drive down into the 1 hour and into the 15-minute because it's going to change, possibly. So we do have, basically, you have your top side. This right here is what you'd call a control bar right here. You mark the top of that candle. Let's go ahead and mark the top of this candle because it's also a control bar here as well, right? So let's mark the top of that. That's where we began to see our breakdown and never could get back over top of that high. So you look for candles like that. This candle right here, look at that candle. That candle owned the chart. And then when you did actually have a bounce up, it bounced up, but it never got back over this candle, right? So we're going to call that candle a control bar. I got that name from somebody else that I follow on YouTube. Anyhow, and then that candle actually then set the trend, if you notice, right? Because it was from here to there, we began seeing that new downward trend. So that was the trend there. So we're going to mark the high of that candle right here. If we can get over top of that candle, that's good news, but then we still got to get over top of the trading range that we could not get out of for 3 months. So actually, let's change it to this, and let's get that number for you. That number is, we're going to round it off, price level 1. We're going to call it 695.50 or 696, whichever one works for you. And then I'm going to change it to red because if price ends up in there, I'm going to be expecting a reaction. Also, I'm expecting a reaction possibly because you got the middle range of this upward channel, and you got then the retest right here happening all in this one area right there. And then also, actually, as I'm looking at this, we're also looking at this whole range right here. And it's the top of that range, which is that. So let's look at that number as well. And that number is almost where we're at right now, which is basically, let's just say the top of that number is 690. So you might get another couple of points, and then if you're bullish and you just think the market's just going to keep ripping up, and there is no pullback, and that's been the case lately. Let's look at it. You know, it's been it ripped up here. You got a slight pullback, then it ripped up again. I wouldn't even call that a pullback. That's a sideways move. Ripped up here, sideways move. Pullback, had a pullback the next day. Guys, this was where it was hanging on by its fingernails. And when it recaptured that, this is bullish because it took out all of those shorts. And then when it went over top of that, you should have been long. You should have changed your tune. And I know I was bearish in the pre-market because that's actually the pre-market profile was bearish yesterday. But when it went up and over that, and I marked my pre-market high and pre-market low, it captured the pre-market high yesterday. We can take a look at that so I can show you. Because I actually changed my tune to go to be a long rather than to be a short. So let's change this to maximize the sell. We will look at that on the 15-minute chart, really only in regards to yesterday, right? So yesterday, your pre-market high was right here. And when it recaptured that pre-market high and it captured the moving averages, you should have been long. What you're seeing right here, I'm gonna go back to my we're gonna go back to the this view. I think it's a cleaner view for demonstrating things for you. Anyhow, you see in here, this automatically marks for me. These are my indicators over there on stockcharthistory.com. They're available for purchase if you want them. They'll automatically draw in for you and even set alerts. So I got an alert that it crossed over that pre-market high. Here was your trend line. It took out the pre-market high with a big bullish candle, and everything changed from that spot on. And when it took out the pre-market high, it never looked back. It never even came back for a retest. It came back to a retest on the 200 period moving average on the 15-minute chart. And from then on, it was just straight up, right? And if you didn't get in, it was kind of difficult to actually get in because it was actually just ripping the face off of the shorts. And that is what you call a short squeeze. Let's remove this trend line. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that because you're going to do the same today. You're going to mark off the pre-market high, but we're also going to mark off that the 2-minute low and the 2-minute high after we get the PPI number in 7 more minutes. Let's take a look at our dashboards while we're waiting for that number to come in. So your Bitcoin is leading the way. And it's actually had it must have been about even yesterday for the week. So it's leading the way with 1.37%. Crude is down 2.7%. That's not a major decline for crude, but what crude has actually been doing is when crude's been ripping up, it hasn't necessarily been pushing the stock market down, but it's been kind of putting a cap on the stock market is what it's been doing. So now that it's actually pulling back, it's just giving a lot of relief, especially to the Russell and the NQs. And the NQs, they've been beating up. The mega stocks have been beating up. So I think that they're actually looking to recover. Also, your materials and your precious metals, they are getting some relief because what ends up happening with that is that you get relief in regards to the interest rates and stuff like that. So the interest rates are pulling back and your VIX is actually pulling back. Your VIX is pulling back, your interest rates are pulling back, the dollar's pulling back. So those are all good for the metals. And ARKK, which is a risk on, IWM risk on, they're all doing great. The semis, they were not leading the way a while ago, but they're leading the way again. They're having a fantastic week. They're already up 1.48% on the week. You got to watch the semis. You should have 2 charts besides the SPY open. You should have the semis open and crude oil because you follow those 2, they're going to be letting you know which way the SPY is going. If you trade the SPY, open the semis and open crude oil, have those as side charts. And your energy, of course, is down. Financials, it's kind of interesting. The financials are flat to down. All of your protectionist stocks are down right now. Let's see if it stays that way. So this is the pre-market condition right now that we're looking at prior to the PPI. PPI is coming out in 5 minutes. The countdown is 5 minutes. Now, Is it finally time for the precious metals to be reaching their bottom? Let's see what happens with the PPI today. I'm really interested to see this. I was constantly trading silver. I believe silver is in a macro economic cycle where it's in a mega economic cycle where it's going to go up. But in the short term, with the interest rates and the dollar putting pressure on the precious metals, I've been short term bearish. Does that change? Is that starting to change? Maybe it is. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Of course, some major event happening. This market is news driven. So while I'm putting together certain things for you guys, this market is news driven. So if you get some news like yesterday, hey, we're interested in a second round of talks, and all of a sudden your face is getting ripped off, don't stay short. If you get secondary news, all the talks are canceled, and there was this major event that ended up happening in the Strait of Hormuz, and you see the candles actually going down, change your tune. Be ready to change your tune. Be ready to flip on a dime. That's what I'm trying to prepare you to. Have two narratives in your head at all times. All right. Very good. So let's look at this. Let's go. Let's pull this out a little bit more. See at the bottom of the list. And it's not surprised. We got oil, energy is at the bottom. Protectionist stocks are at the bottom. TLT is kind of pulling back a little bit, but it's flat. Silver, so your precious metals, Bitcoin's up, GDX, the miners, the semis, IGV, software. Is it time for software to finally get some love? Software's been beaten up. If the stock market's going to go up, that might be an area where you can actually get a good play. The countdown, we're down to 3 minutes on the countdown. Let's keep going through the dashboards right now. I want to get a feel for what is the market looking like prior to the PPI coming out. And these dashboards are excellent indicators. So now, Tesla, a stock that has just been getting killed. Microsoft, the stock that's been getting killed. And recently, Meta's been getting killed as well. Guess what? They're your leaders in the pre-market, right? So what did I say? I said, if this market's going to turn around, let's start looking to where the people who have been hit the worst, the oracles. Yesterday, Oracle had an incredible day. Maybe Oracle's back on the list now, right? Tesla, Microsoft, your software stocks, CRM, Palantir. Palantir's been getting kind of hit. Maybe Palantir's ready for a turnaround. Funny thing is that Apple's been continuing to be an outlier. It's just been kind of doing its own thing. These have been moving in unison with together. NVIDIA was on the top of the list yesterday and the day before. Now it's on the bottom of the list, but it's still above the SPY, so it's still good to go. And Google's really just been kind of continuing to inch along. So Google's been a good stock to actually be in. All right, here we go. High volume alerts. What's on our high volume list? What's the highest volume traded stock? NOK is the high volume traded stock right now. I don't even know what that is. Intel is constantly leading the list. So you need to put Intel on your list. Take a look at it. Palantir is actually getting some love. It's up 1.5%, and it's actually getting a lot of volume. You got Plug and CoreWeave, Tesla, Oracle, American Airlines, Irene, Micron, Ford, AVGO. AVGO actually got a snapback low yesterday. I was doing a consultation call yesterday, and we built a snapback low scan together, and AVGO came up on the scan. So let's keep AVGO on our minds today. PPI coming out in 1 minute. I'm going to switch back to charts in just 1 second. I want to see what's the stocks that are actually, what are the stocks that are up for the market right now. So the leaders right now, AAL is the leader. AAL is winning the race. Oracle, CoreWeave, Plug, Irene. These are your gap ups. Take a snapshot of this. These are your gap ups right now. So if you like to trade gap ups, this is your gap ups. One more thing I'm going to show you, and we'll go over to the charts. These are your gap downs. All right. This could all change. I'm going to move this over now. And let's put our charts back up. And here we go. It's on. We're going to change this chart to a 1 minute chart. All right. And let's see what happens. Once again, we're going to mark the high and the low. You guys do this with me. Mark the high and mark the low. So, all right, looks like right now we're doing a little bit of a give back. But let's see what happens. Let's let the news, let's let the algos dive into it, figure out what it likes, what it doesn't like. The high right now is 688.86. And let's go ahead and just take a look at the numbers while we're waiting, okay? And once again, I don't really care about the numbers. I care about the reaction to the numbers. Oh, well, the PPI came out 0.5%, and it was supposed to be 1%. So that is quite a difference. Let me turn off my color, my dark reader on this, and let's get rid of that arrow. All right. Yeah, so CPI came over here at 0.5%. It was supposed to be 1.1%. So it's not a good reading. It's a pretty big difference. Honestly, I don't think that you usually see these kinds of differences. That's a pretty big difference. And then your core March over March number is actually a pretty big difference as well. So that might actually cause a little bit of a reaction. Let's see. But the market's main concern, I still think the market's main concern is actually, the news of what's going on, obviously, in the Strait of Hormuz. So we'll see what happens. We've actually put in the 2 minutes. So let's mark our high and our low right now. So I'm going to mark the high with a red line, and it actually matches the pre-market high right now. So we're going to go ahead and mark this with a red line. Let's set it to a 2 on the width just so it has that. And I'm going to set an alert. This is how you set an alert. Right click on it. If you're in Thinkorswim, create alert. When it crosses above, set yourself an alert. Okay, and here's your low right here. Let's go ahead and mark the pre-market low. We're going to mark that with a green line. All right. And we're going to set an alert on that as well. So create an alert with that. If it goes down under, see here. One more time. Create an alert with the drawing. No. It's probably because I'm in this box. It doesn't really want to. There we go. Great. When it crosses below, we're going to get an alert. Okay. And so you get your alerts if you set up your system right. If you go down here in Thinkorswim, you can actually set up these sidebars in Thinkorswim, and you can have a message center right there. And that's what I have going on right now. So we'll get an alert when it actually goes down. But we could see that it actually is trending back down towards that number. But honestly, this is not a big move. So let's go ahead and let's lock in our pivots. You guys have any specific things that you want me to look at? Okay. We're going to lock in our pivots. So we got our pivot low as 687.80. So, 687, 687, 688, 687.50. You also have a mid-range level here at 688. And then you got your top level, let's just call it 689. Because the SPY rarely, it'll spike through these numbers a lot of times. It doesn't usually run up to the penny. So you see how it spiked over, like right here. We have our pivot right here, right? So there's your pivot. But then right here, it spiked over, right? And that happens a lot with the SPY. So we know that. All right. Those are your hourly numbers on the SPY. Let's take a look at let's go ahead and take a look at the mega cap, the Mag 7. Let's see how they reacted. If you look here, I have this 5-minute change. It looks like Tesla actually pulled back a little bit in the last 5 minutes, to 5-minute to 15-minute time frame, and your Apple pulled back and Meta pulled back. Maybe you're not seeing what I'm looking at. Just to be sure, I'm looking right here in this box right here, and it's showing me what's happening with price action in those time frames. So you can see there's a little bit of a pullback from the mega cap Mag 7. It looks like they're reacting to those numbers slightly negative in the negative fashion. If we go ahead and sort this by who's up and who's down right now, Tesla is the leader right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're all there. Okay. So Tesla is the leader. Let's go ahead and take a look at Tesla. And let's just keep everything on the 15-minute time frame since we just now got that economic news in. So yeah, Tesla is, even though Tesla is slightly up on the day, it's actually trending down right now. If you look at it right here. So Tesla, if I just draw this regression channel right here, it's actually, that's the downward trend right now for Tesla. It's going to need to get above this number right here to be back on the bull train. We got a snap back and we got a pivot right there at 358.50, and your bottom right here is 358. If it gets up into this range right here and it continues to keep this profile, actually I think that you're looking more at a short. The reason being is that your moving averages, your 20 period and your 50 period and your 200, they're all sloping down. They're putting downward pressure on Tesla at this stage. Where's Tesla at in regards to the balance range right now? So let's take a look at that. So here's your balance range for Tesla, and this probably is why it's having a little bit of difficulty. If you look on the pre-market, this basically is your entire pre-market, and Tesla's sitting here at the top of that zone. So Tesla probably, if you break up above, obviously, you break above this and then you retest it, you're along, right? But actually being in this balance range right here, and the longs are too long, you got too many longs, longs that are actually just became long there. More than likely, this is going to pull back. This is what I would be thinking that you're looking at, is possibly a reaction here or a reaction here. And then you're looking to see what happens after that. So a reaction here and there. So those to me seem to be your scenarios. Does it get back on the bull? It's a possibility. It wouldn't hurt for it actually to have a little bit of a pullback. It wouldn't hurt for it actually to come down like this, and then have a little bit of a pullback into this zone right through here, and collect some support off the bottom of this trading range. So that's what Tesla is looking like. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. Microsoft. Microsoft actually was doing incredible in the pre-market. It doesn't have that same look as Tesla. Tesla is really overextended when you're looking at what's going on in the balance range of the pre-market. So Microsoft's sitting here on the top of the balance range, but it also, interesting enough, Microsoft, and Microsoft has really been beaten up. It looks to me like it's trying to actually break out. If you look at that, it's continuing to put pressure on that top line right here. So your number right there is 390. Let's just call it 390. We look like we're trying to break it right now. There you go. There it goes. And that's what I was telling you, is to keep an eye on the software stocks right now. Microsoft is a software stock. So I would be watching that. I would pull up your software stocks like CRM, Adobe. Put Adobe on your list to watch today. If the market's going to go bullish, let's maybe take a look at those. So put Microsoft on the list as possibly, it's probably, if it's going to do this, I don't like to see this happening in the pre-market. If I want to go bullish on a stock, right? I want to see it pull back a little bit, like maybe this right here, and then actually rip up. So Microsoft probably is going to give something back on the open, right? On the open is what I'm talking about. Your downward levels on Microsoft are 389, 388.50, 388.25. Yeah, so basically your whole numbers on the bottom side there. So Microsoft is looking pretty bullish. Meta is, it looks to me, okay, so if you trade the SPY, take this into consideration. The mega cap stocks, everybody is out of balance to the high side, out of balance to the long side right now in the pre-market. This is where everybody is at in the pre-market, okay? They're long. And so once the pre-market opens, there's going to be people wanting to take profit. There's going to be new money longs out there that are going to get squeezed. And what ends up happening is that's why you see these pullbacks, okay? Even though the profile says this is bullish. So yeah, it's bullish, but you're actually probably going to look at something like and usually when it's like this, you'll see an initial drive actually out of that zone, and then you'll see a topping tail. You'll see a topping tail, and then it'll maybe come down and it'll actually find where it's going to pick up that support at. Will it be right here? Will it be at this this next pivot right here, where you also have, you know, as you can see, your 50 period moving average, right, or not 50 period, 200 period moving average right here at 640.09, and it's moving right into that pivot, pivot on the pre-market at 640.50. So those are some levels for you on Meta. So, but once again, the initial is I'm looking for it to pull back. Now there you go. Now Google's acting right. So Google's actually doing a pullback right now. That's what you want to see if you want to get in on some upside action. But Google still has a ways to go. It needs to come back down into this snapback area. If you see right here, we put in a snapback right here. So, and that number is 600 or 324. And you have your 200-day moving average moving up right here into that same area. So if it could pull back into that area, and you have a really nice, when I'm looking at this now, you got a really nice consolidation area right here, the 324.25, 324 area. If it can hold that area and then pick up some, you know, kind of just hang around there for a minute and then bounce back out of this area right here, you probably could look to have a long. If it loses that area, then the next area of support is right here at 323, and then your pre-market low, which is 321 right here. You got a trading range right down there at 321, and that's a huge trading range. There's a lot of longs that are in here. There's a lot of people who might want to reload in that area. There's going to be people trying to protect that area as well. That would be a fantastic area to see how it's reacting to. If it can actually bounce, go all the way down to this area and bounce off of that area, that might be a great area to be making a play off of. If it loses that area, then maybe we're like yesterday, where the pre-market profile was showing, you know, a negativity, but then in the post-market, once the regular trading hours started, everything flipped on its head, and that's been what's happening an awful lot of times, right? Nvidia's just really kind of flat. It's had a heck of a run, but it looks like its reaction right now to the numbers has been negative right now, and it pulled right back into a pivot low that we have right here, 190, and it picked up. It looks like it's showing some slight reaction at that spot right now. I'm not so sure it's going to hold that spot. And Nvidia's really had a fantastic week. So Nvidia is up on the week. Let me see here. It's up. Well, okay. I guess it's only up on the week 0.36 this week. It had a fantastic week last week, if you remember. And I did tell you that you're actually probably going to see a little bit of a pullback on Nvidia. And maybe instead of a pullback, it's actually a pullback in time. It just decides to go sideways, which is incredibly bullish. But, you know, we are looking at this range right now that it's in. And if it gets out of that range to the high side, you know, then it's a long. If it gets out of the range to the low side, you know, then you probably want to look at it being a short. So your long is here, just to show you. There's your long. If you're trading the pre-market, you know, honestly, there's a lot of people trading pre-market nowadays. So why not? You could actually try your short right there and give yourself a little bit of room to play. Maybe a 2-minute or a 5-minute candle, or you get over top of this candle right here and you're out. So giving you a possible short at this time, but I don't know. I like to see retests, but it does have a nice area right here, guys. But you also have, if we're looking at this now too, you also have this right here that is trying to actually continue to pick up some support off of that area. So there's your zone right there. When you take a look at that, Nvidia right now is underneath of the moving averages on the 15-minute. It looks like the moving averages are rolling over. You can see that every single time frame moving average, it's under on the 15-minute. The slopes are starting to turn down. The 50s turn neutral. The only thing you have going on is the 200. And on top of that, the moving averages now just stacked on themselves too. So Nvidia is negative right now in the pre-market. and going into the open. But once again, these things can flip on its head. If you want, you could actually do something like this. Draw yourself a trend line. If it gets over top of that trend line, and it continues in the pre-market too, and this is how I'm trying to teach you guys, it continues to actually just walk down that trend line. But then then actually once the market opens, it actually then rips over that trend line. That's a long, right? So watch it. I like to see something that's a little more on these trend lines. If I can get something that's a little more uniform, a little more of a walk down rather than an impulse move like this. See this impulse candle, and then you have your walk down. I like to see it looking like this when I'm doing those types of plays, where you're just kind of like inching down, inching down, inching down, and then all of these people are wrong once it goes up above. And you can do a lot of times you can see a nice rip when that ends up happening. So just to give you the play on that. Apple is really basically flat to nothing. I don't know that there's anything to look at on Apple. It's pulling down to 259.50. Let's get some hourlies. I'm going to change my settings so that I'm not showing the highlighting the sessions because it's hard to see. All right, here's where you get your numbers. 260.25, 256.75. It's basically in this trading range right here. It has some overhead resistance. 260.25. You right after that, you're getting into 261. You really need to get above 262, and it's a snapback up there too, guys. If you notice, got a snapback right here. Apple's really just there's nothing to do with Apple until it gets above 262.15 to 262.25 area. Okay, there's nothing to do with Apple. So I have people asking for NVIDIA, Microsoft. Let's throw NVIDIA back on here to get some hourly number. Get the hourly pivots. NVIDIA is right at so it's at the top of the range of your hourly pivots. You got a snapback right there, 189.75, and you also have a 190. So if it pulls down into that, that's pretty strong on your hourly, right? You also got this it's a pretty decent pretty decent pre-market range right there. It's not crazy. Your pre-market low is marked by the dashed line, your pre-market high right here. I think we're going to run down to that, but then we possibly could pick up the 20 period moving average right there at that pivot level. So Google looks like it's trying to break up above the high. Keep an eye on Google. But once again, you do have some people that are offside, so your balance range, got your new money longs. If they get squeezed, you could see it coming back into this area here, 321.75. Meta's at the top of the balance range. Put a nice candle in and then just stopped right there at the top when you look at it. Here was the pre-market high. Hit that number, stopped, coming back, consolidating right there. Possible pullback to 300 or 639.50. Microsoft. I didn't give you the hourly numbers. That's why I'm doing this here. Microsoft put in a snapback high and recovered that snapback high, indicating that it has strength. Okay, it took out this. It took out your seller right here, and then it has a pivot right here at the 386.29. You have your moving average. It's above all the moving averages. It's stacked on the hourly time frame. Once again, going back to my theme, I think we need to start looking at you need to start looking at software stocks. The software stocks are on my list. As soon as I get off of this call, I'm pulling up software stocks and I'm going to start to take a look at them. So, and I don't have a software stocks watch list, so I can't share that with you. Tesla, let's go ahead and remove this there. Tesla is really just consolidating towards the top of the range, and it has a snapback high that it's actually overtaken, showing some strength. And that snapback high is at 356.10. 35. That also is marking a prior day high. So you got confluence there. You also have, look at this, you have this 20 period moving average moving into that as well. So if it gets down into this area, you probably could see Tesla having a nice reaction to that. All right, looking for some stocks. Aisha wants to take a look at CDNS. Okay, Aisha, CDNS, you got it. CDNS. And we're at 8:50. So I'm actually going to get off of this call here real soon. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. When I'm done with this, we're going to go ahead and close the call. All right. I want to look at this on the daily time frame. Okay, let's go ahead and throw that regression channel on the daily time frame because I can see we got a channel down on this without a doubt. So I'm right clicking, I'm middle clicking, just so you understand. Some of you guys are learning how to use Thinkorswim, right? And I encourage you to put Thinkorswim as one of the best charting programs. Whether you're using it to trade with or not is not important. A lot of people I know use this for charting. You can use it for charting for free, and then you can trade with whatever platform you want. I use it for trading my day trading, and I use a different platform for actually swing trading. But here you go. It's in a it's in a downward trend. Okay, so basically on this, if you wanted to, if you for some reason there's some fundamental reason that you're looking at this and you're thinking this is a stock I want to be invested in, I would prefer to be invested down towards the bottom of these numbers. If it's an investment, because you're always trying to get that low and you're okay with scaling in, maybe 25% now, another 25% later, it's already looks like it's had a pretty decent pullback from the highs. It's actually pulled back. You can actually use Thinkorswim to see from the highs. I'm using the trend line indicator right now. You click on that, you can go to the top and then to the bottom. And then what I'm seeing right now, okay, I guess I can't show you that way. All right, anyhow, I'll just have to tell you. So what you're seeing is on that box there at the top, it's down 30% off of its highs. That's a pretty nice move off the highs. So you put in a snapback low right here at 262, and it's already up to 293.44. It's got a huge consolidation range that it's in right there. But it is trying to get over top of this middle area right here. And honestly, you almost could actually draw a second regression channel right here just to kind of see what is the near term move of this, because you're looking at that and it's popped out of that right now. And it looks like it's trying to move over. This right here, this is another snapback. So it's a previous snapback low. And it's actually finding some resistance against that. It could move up to around 300, 302, and then it's going to struggle from that spot. It looks bullish right now because it's coming out of this channel right here, but it may want to pull back a little bit. It's the moving averages right now on this 24-hour chart. They're showing you that it's actually flat on all the moving averages. So a lot of times what ends up happening there is like the moving averages need a chance to actually turn up, and then the stock will kind of come back and it's going to kind of consolidate or come into the moving averages. So that's usually what ends up happening. But if we do get some big news, it could actually, it could do something. We look at this weekly right here. It's up 9% on the week. So it's a winner on the week. But it might need a little time to consolidate. It's only up 0.63% in the pre-market. Let's go ahead and look at it on the hourly time frame so I can give you some pivots, and then I'm going to have to close down the show because I got some work to do myself on some things of myself. And if you're in the Discord group, if you're part of Alvaro's Patreon group, you get to be part of the Discord group. And I'm going to go ahead and anything that I uncover in the software stocks, I'll actually post on the Discord group. So you can look for that, okay? And you go to the stock chart history, not stock chart history, go to the bilingual stock market channel in order to give information on the Patreon group. So it has captured the 20 period moving average. Okay. That's strong. You have a snapback high right here that it put in, and it overcame the snapback high. So it took the buyer out. It came back and retested it. This is what's so beautiful about these snapbacks. If it actually takes that out, usually it will come back for a retest. If it captures that, that usually means you're safe to go long, and you could set yourself a stop loss underneath of this. Give it a little room for volatility, but then you could actually have carried this through up to here if you were looking to do a quick scalp. Right now, mark your pre-market high and your pre-market low. I'll give you those numbers in just a second. You have your pivots at 291, 292 area. It's going to need to get above those pivots and then show actually that it can close over those pivots, and it needs to hold this snapback low, this 287.50. It has to hold that snapback low. There are times that it'll actually kind of walk up over top of the snapback low, and then once it actually loses it, then you can actually be in trouble. So and you get into this area right through here. This is a zone right here where there's not a lot of volume, so it could move very quickly through that area down to 265. If it ends up going down to 265 and you're interested in using this as a you have that regression channel that I drew in this same area in the 261 to 265 area, that could actually be a pretty nice swing. So if you're interested in the swing on that, that's the swing. So I'm kind of giving you the swing. I'm giving you the scalping options as well. Let's take a look at this on the 15-minute, and then I have to close down the show. So good luck on your trading today, guys. Do me a favor, add a like on the video if you liked the video, if you like what I gave you. Really not a lot to see here. I think I already gave you these numbers. Pre-market high, pre-market low. Right here, I think that is, no, it's over top of your prior day high right here and your prior day close. So it is bullish. It's looking bullish. It's kind of in the middle of the range, so you don't have to worry about it being too far out of balance. Just look on your 1 hour charts then and mark those numbers that I already gave to you. I think we're good to go. I'm going to close down the show. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I really appreciate your support as always. Have a great day and stay green.